What's up, and welcome to episode 72 of Throwback Hoops. My name is Rob Clayton, and joining me is the legend, Woody V.
Legend, that's the first time you called me that in an intro, Robbie, but thanks for that. Very happy day, man, for you and me.
Yeah, mate, I'm calling everyone a legend today. I'm in such a good mood, and we'll get into that a little bit more. And I'm loving how you're rocking that Hawks jersey today, Wood. So, all right, before we get into it, so just the usual reminders we do at the start and the end of the show. Please make sure you like, rate, and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you find your podcasts. All right, Woods, before we get into this Hawks Love Fest, which we'll try not to do too much of, why don't you tell us about this jersey you're rocking today?
Sure, I'll just stand up, Robbie.
Woody's rocking the number 17 Atlanta Hawks. Loving that jersey. Big 00. Hit his first playoff career 3 today for the Hawks. I know that's a guy we're both loving there, Woods.
I know you got really jealous when I ordered this jersey before you.
I was dirty, you got that before me. That's why I got the black one, which looks a bit better. But yeah, I was dirty, you got it before me. But yeah, maximum respect for showing that one.
Look, before I get into what he's achieved and how his game has grown over the last few years and obviously his performance today, a little bit about Onyeka Okongwu. He was a 4-year starter at Chino Hills High School in South California, where he coincidentally played alongside the Ball brothers, Lonzo and LaMelo. Did you know that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And before joining USC for a 2-year stint, if I'm not mistaken, and being drafted 6th overall by the Atlanta Hawks in the 2020 NBA draft. Now, that first season, he was plagued by some injuries, but he's really taken his game to the next level over the last year or so. I mean, that first 2 seasons, he only played 98 games, but he's managed to play 80 games this year, putting up averages of 9.9 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks per game. And combining with Clint Capella at that 5 spot, they've been a ray of sunshine for this Hawks team that has had a somewhat up and down season, right?
That's right. Look, no shock to you, Woods. I absolutely love this guy, right? I've been sort of singing his praises all year. Look, he's definitely an undersized big man, isn't he? He's probably only about 6'9" or something like that. But, geez, what he gives up for in height there, he just makes up for it everywhere else. He's a massive shot-blocking machine, like you mentioned his numbers there. He's definitely stepped up those numbers in the playoffs. And he's continued to sort of add things to his game, I think. There was a lot of talk he was going to add that sort of long jumper this year. Maybe he hasn't added that too much. I think that's probably going to be something he continues to work on. But he might eventually make Clint Capella, dispensable there. But I like having them both in the team there. It's a really good sort of two-headed combination, isn't it? You can sort of substitute them, and you're not really going to lose a whole lot there. But, yeah, loving what he's given us there. And I think he's definitely sort of shown again in these playoffs as he did, last time we made the playoffs.
Yeah, and interestingly, you mentioned that two-headed monster with those two. Coach Quinn Snyder actually preferred using Okongwu down the stretch today, and he came up big with some huge defensive plays, right? So the confidence that the coaching staff put in him is just reward for the progress he's made over that time, as I mentioned. Right?
No, well said, Woods. No, I'm loving that one. And as I said, we'll certainly talk a little bit about the Hawks. So I should say the time of recording, it is Wednesday. It's hard to know what day it is this week. It's a little bit of a strange week with the Anzac Day holiday yesterday, but it's Wednesday, the 26th of April. So got a lot to talk about. Obviously, we're going to talk, some NBA playoffs and NBL and free agency and stuff. But before we do that, I've got to take you through my jerseys of the week. So as you know, I like to do Woods when I can. I'm doing a bit of a double this week. Pretty good one as well, I reckon. So this week I'm doing a Chris Mullin double. Someone we probably haven't spoken a great deal about on the show, but I know someone that we're both big fans of back in the day. So today hanging is his blue Pacers champion jersey. So very rare one, that one, Woods. You don't see a lot of those ones, do you? Obviously see a lot of
you don't.
Golden State ones, but not many of the Pacers ones. So I'll just quickly stand up and show you the one I'm wearing today, and then I'll talk about it. Got to say about this one, Woods, one of my favourite colour combinations. I think I might have worn a Billy Owens one on the show earlier. It's just a great colour combination. I like the style of this, but I'll just stand up and show you this one now.
And I'll be standing up with a classic, as he mentioned, old school Chris Mullin Golden State Warriors jersey. And I believe I've worn the same jersey Tim Hardaway on the show before, right?
Possibly. Tell me what number you're rocking on your jersey today, Woods.
I'm rocking 17.
How random is that? So it's got to be one of the more random jersey numbers in the NBA. And without even sort of touching base first, we're both rocking the same number jersey
We didn't.
today. So
Yeah.
very strange one. 17. You don't get a lot of them. You look at that on Basketball Reference, there's not a whole lot there. So, look, just a little bit about Mr. Mullin there. So, as I mentioned, this is his Blue Warriors champion jersey. So, Mullin played 15 seasons in the NBA after getting drafted by Golden State at pick 7 in the 85 draft out of St. John's. He played with the Warriors as well as the Pacers. And, of course, part of that Run TMC trio with Golden State, which, alongside with Mitch Richmond and Tim Hardaway that people really loved back in the day. Got some pretty good accolades, Woods. He was a 5-time All-Star, 1-time All-NBA first team, 2-time NBA second team, and 1 All-NBA third team. Also got a number of college awards and, of course, 4 gold medals for the US, including the 92 gold medal in Barcelona as part of the Dream Team. So, look, as a player, Mullin was able to overcome alcoholism, and post-career he had several front office roles in the NBA, as well as having the head coach role with his alma mater, St. John's, from 2015 to 2019. So Mullin's now 59. He's in the Hall of Fame and had his number 17 retired by the Warriors. So, yeah, don't have any bobbleheads or anything of Mullin, Woods, but I thought a good one to talk about. What were your memories of the great Chris Mullin?
Man, I remember Wale as well, in one of his rap songs, dropped his name about his buzz cut. But look, what I remember about Chris Mullin is the stories you heard about coming up in New York, right? Mm-hmm. And him going and to all the various different hoods and playing at Rucker Park and, in the Bronx, and Staten Island, playing with all the brothers, and they all just let him in once they saw the game that he had, right? So even though he was a white guy, he grew up amongst, a lot of colored players, and he learned to play on the hard streets, right? And it's a great story because that hardened him up later on in life, and the kind of respect he's got on the streets of New York, alongside we've talked about Kenny Anderson, Rod Strickland, those guys, right? He's right up there, New York legend, Mark Jackson, right?
Yeah. He had that old school game, didn't he, as well? A lot of sort of 2 points, sort of jump shots and everything else like that, which was automatic from certain ranges there. So, look, he was a good 3-point shooter, but another one of these players, if he was playing in this era now sort of thing, he would just be jacking up threes all the time. But, yeah, it is strange to see that Pacers jersey, isn't it? Of course, that was part of those teams with, Jalen Rose, Mark Jackson, as you mentioned, Rick Smits, Antonio and Dale Davis, those sort of guys brothers. Like that, Hayward Workman, stuff like that. So, yeah, they had some good success as well, going deep into the finals as well.
Chris Mullin was very useful on that team, coming off the bench often and giving them that punch. Yeah, great team. I still remember those Lakers series.
You definitely would have played with him on NBA Jam too. I can
Hell yeah! I used to shoot threes with him and Hardaway. Yeah, you could only use 2 in the original NBA Jam. It was just him and Hardaway. I remember. Right. So yeah.
No, very good. All right. Now I was enjoying doing one. I was going to say as well, it is one of the nicer older jerseys, isn't it? These ones.
Awesome. Love that jersey. Love that jersey, man.
Yeah. No, for sure. All right. Well, as we mentioned at the start of the show, it's been a pretty fair day today. I think we both sort of touched base yesterday, and we probably weren't expecting our Hawks to win today. Let's face it, Woods. Obviously, DeJounte Murray was suspended for the game for a very silly bump that he did on a ref there. No complaints at all from me. He deserved that game there. Some people are saying he potentially could have deserved another game there. It was just a stupid thing to do, to be honest. But what I thought we'd do, obviously want to talk a little bit about that series, but we might just sort of talk a little bit about each series like we did last week, Woods. I know you're sort of ready for that. So at the time of recording, 3 of the 8 first-round playoff series are finished. So there's only been one sweep, which was maybe a little bit surprising there. Philadelphia felt like they've been finished for about a week or so. It's not quite that long, but they had the only sweep, beating Brooklyn 4-0 there. It was their first sweep since the 80s, Woods, so I thought it was pretty surprising to sort of read that. I think it was like mid-80s or something was the last time they swept any playoff series there. So, look, obviously we won't go too much into that one. That one's done and dusted. But there was a couple of series that ended today. So we might just start off with the Eastern Conference first, Woods, not just because the Hawks are there, but just because that's what I've got on my notes there. So, let's talk a little bit about this Heat and Bucks series, right? So the Heat currently up 3-1 there. They're a chance to sort of close it out in that game 5 there. What's your thoughts been on that series?
Jimmy Butler, man. Like, you got to talk about this, right? Often when you got the best player on the floor, that team can still win despite everything else.
Does Milwaukee have the best player on the floor in that series, though?
I mean, in terms of in that particular game, Butler was the best player on the floor, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was better than Giannis. He was better than anyone. Brook Lopez had, 36 the other night. He was the best player on the floor on both teams. And you look at that Miami Heat team, they got, 6 or 7 undrafted guys. Highsmith, Duncan Robinson's playing.
He's been all right, hasn't he?
Yeah, like Caleb Martin, I think it is. They've got there, right?
Max
Seriously,
Strus,
like Max Strus, Kevin Love started the other night, didn't he?
Yeah.
No one even scored 15 points. They've got one guy, right? And you look at their points in that series. They put up 120 plus in every single game of the series, right? With one guy, basically. I don't know how they're doing it, but it just shows that if you've got one guy, you can put the team on his back offensively and be better than everyone else, then you can have a result like this. But just incredible. Our Hawks just beat Miami, right? To actually make them have to work for that 8th seed. So it's incredible when you think of that. Right?
No, I agree with what you said, Woods. Look, I've probably made it clear before, I'm not a massive Jimmy Butler fan, but just because I'm not a fan of him doesn't mean I don't respect his game. And we all know that the bigger the stage, the better he seems to play. And he's just been amazing. 56, I think it's the 4th most points ever scored in a playoff game. I think Donovan Mitchell had a 57, Jordan's beaten it, Wilt's beaten it, I think maybe Jerry West were the other ones there. So just an amazing effort. Look, they're doing that as well without Tyler Hero, who's their second leading scorer. So that makes it even more impressive there. I want to focus a little bit on the Bucks, though, Woods, before we move on to the next matchup. Really disappointing. I think they've built that team as like a veteran team, a lot of sort of older guys on there, but a lot of these guys just aren't standing up. Middleton just doesn't look the player he was. Drew Holiday, people think he's going to make potentially an All-NBA second team. He hasn't been the player you'd be thinking he was. And just, I don't know, they just haven't, like you said, Brook Lopez has been great and easily the 3rd best center in the NBA. I think, Brook Lopez is a great player and seems to improve every year, but been disappointing. Obviously, Giannis is back now. I had a triple-double in that last game and it wasn't quite enough there, but what's your thoughts? Where's that series going to go from there?
Look, I still think Milwaukee could take this series. I know there's only 5% of teams that come back from 3-1 down.
Yep.
But I can liken this a little bit to that Golden State Warriors OKC series going back 5, 6, 7 years now, right?
Yep.
Down 3-1, came back, won that series when Westbrook and Durant were on OKC, you remember, right? I get those vibes. They showed some signs there, and they led for most of the game, right? If it wasn't for that incredible run that Miami went on towards the end there.
Yeah. How crazy would it be if they went down 4-1, Woods? That would be crazy, wouldn't it? I think we talked about it, wouldn't it? It would be the quickest upset for an 8th seed over a first seed to win in 5 games. I don't think it's ever happened before, right? So, very.
It hasn't helped them as well that Giannis has been, in and out, right, of the lineup. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hopefully he can stay now and get it. Looking forward to that next game, which I believe is tomorrow, and that'll be certainly interesting to see what happens in that series. So we'll go on to the next one. As we mentioned, Woods, we won't talk about that Brooklyn-Philly, so Philly will wrap that up. But the next one there has been a pretty strange series, and not probably one I haven't seen a whole lot of, but that's New York currently leading the Cavs 3-1 now. So the Cavs have home court advantage. So another series that, the road team's sort of leading there. New York's looking pretty convincing though, aren't they? Do you think so?
Look, that's the one series, same as you, I haven't got to watch it as much as I would have liked. But I think they could really do with someone like Kevin Love now, Cleveland, right? Not having him on that roster. I spoke earlier. Now is when someone like him could come up trumps, right? I expected this to go to 7, and you said Cleveland in 7, and I said New York in 7, right? This could be over, though, tomorrow, right?
Could be. And you think about it, the Knicks are up 3-1. Julius Randle, my man's not playing that well. His field goal percentage has been pretty bad since the first game there. So he's not doing a whole lot there. Brunson's been very good without being incredible there. So it's been a real team effort for him. And look, Cleveland have been a little bit disappointing. I don't know what the story is there. They definitely seem to lack shooting, don't they, Cleveland? That's obviously that's not something they're going to be able to address now, is it? But just not quite sure. I mean, they really obviously, just need to fight. It'd be really disappointing for them to have such a successful year and go out, winning one game in the first round there. So Evan Mobley, Woods, a bit disappointing.
He has been. Yeah, that's why I said, someone like Kevin Love could have helped here, right? Because they haven't got the production they wanted out of someone like Evan Mobley, who's having his first playoffs. He's young. It's a different style of game. The game slows down a lot in the postseason, right?
Yeah.
So it's something that he's not accustomed to. But very disappointed at the way the series has gone in general for Cleveland, right? You definitely thought that it'd been more competitive.
And it's good to see New York basketball, that Madison Square Garden crowd sort of buzzing, lots of talk about them. I think people are liking this team. It's quite a likeable team that they've put together there. So that's good to see, I guess, in terms of, a league sort of basketball thing there. But, I think it would be disappointing for the Cavs to go out so quick. But, all right, Woods, let's get on to another series. Just got to get a little prop before we do this.
Yep.
Go put a little tray there. He's going to have a little bit of a chat with me. I thought I'd bring him out after his efforts today. So, yeah, there's a good old tray there for those who can see that. Looking pretty lifelike. I think they've made a big difference with these. Remember before it was that very generic sort of face now. But anyway, Trey can go and sit over there. Woods, what an amazing game today. So, of course, the Hawks went into the Boston Garden. Not called that anymore, but we still refer to it that, with a big 119-117 lead. So they were down 10 at three-quarter time, Woods. They could have easily just laid down and died. As we mentioned, no DeJounte Murray for, doing what he did to the ref. How good was that fourth quarter? Look, we don't want to put it all on Trey there, but he was incredible, wasn't he, in that fourth?
Man, he put the team on his back, and we went on that run. We had, I think, two big threes that he made like there to just tie up the ball game. The big three to actually put us in front. He's so good at the free throw line. People don't talk about that enough. He's automatic. And you just watch him walk up to the free throw line. They call him Ice Tray, but he's cold as ice, man. He's cool under pressure at the free throw line. It doesn't even look like hitting the ring, right? He's got that beautiful technique at the free throw line. And if you want one player shooting free throws, at the crucial stages of a ball game, Trae Young's got to be right up there. And I think he was solid there as well today, right?
I mean, I know we're both fans. You know how crazy I am about the Hawks, Woods, and I messaged you after this. I was shaking at the end of that game. I couldn't believe it. My body was just like shaking sort of thing. I was so pleased. Got some great efforts from the man you're rocking today, Onyeka Okongwu. He had 9 off the bench, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and was really crucial there.
John Collins, man.
John Collins finally had his big game, didn't he? He'd been shooting really poorly. I think if they'd have gone down today, he would have copped a lot of flack about his postseason, and rightfully so. But, today he had 22 points on 9 of 18 shooting. Only the 2 rebounds, which was a little bit of a surprise there, but he really did the offense there. 4 3-pointers as well, which could be close to a career high for him.
I really like that interview he gave at the end of the game today as well, right? Showed how much he wanted this. And he scored 27 or 28 points in the whole series up to this game. You know that? So there was a lot of talk during the week about Trey's going to get traded, right? Let's give the keys to the offense to DeJounte Murray next year. Is John Collins still going to be here? So John Collins made a very good point. Rather than thinking about what would happen if we lose, what's going to happen to this team after this, we just had to focus on tonight, right? There's a lot going on in our camp. He's talking about DeJounte's suspension, etc. We came here with one thing in mind: to be positive, be aggressive, and try and get this win and go back to Atlanta for a game 6.
Well said.
And you saw him embrace Trae Young afterwards, right? All this talk about them having an indifferent relationship.
It's BS. There's never been anything between that. He's an amazing teammate, John Collins. That's why I like him so much. And look, 2 other guys I wanted to mention as well that really stepped up in this game. Woods, obviously Bogdanovic came into the starting lineup. He was great. 18 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 of 9 shooting, 3 3-pointers. So, I mean, he's a real luxury to bring off the bench. And probably the Hawks bench doesn't get enough credit for what they've got. You've got AJ, Jalen Johnson, Sadiq Bey had another big game today. So I really hope they can look at bringing him back next season. He's been a really good addition to this team.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
You see all the players speaking really highly of Coach Quinn Snyder as well. He's very calm under pressure. Apparently Trey loves playing under him, which is good. We haven't always seen Trey get along with coaches there. All the coaches, the players really seem to be on the same page. So very promising. Look, do I think the Hawks are going to win this series? No, I probably don't. I think they're definitely a chance to get that game 6. They showed in that game 3 in Atlanta that they can definitely win in front of a big home crowd there, and they're going to come out really pumped up. It's going to be Friday our time, which I'm spewing about. I wish it was Saturday so I could watch it when I'm not working. But let's focus a little bit quickly on the Celtics, though, Woods. It's obviously a closeout game for them at home. Probably a little bit disappointing there. I thought they got really caught up with the refs today. I thought they just did not stop complaining the whole game. Look, Tatum really struggled today. 19 points. He was 1 of 10 3-point shots, Woods. And we've seen guys like Marcus Smart really get up, for them a lot. Didn't do a whole lot today. Jaylen Brown was really good, obviously. 35 points there, 15 of 23. And they got some bench scoring there. 6-man of the year, Brogdon was good. Your boy, Robert Williams III, was good. And even Hauser was pretty decent. But what do you think was the reason for them, crapping the bed so much in the fourth quarter there today?
Look, under pressure, when they thought that they were going to seal the series, right? A home crowd behind you, sometimes it can work in the opposite way. And they just made mistakes under pressure today. Turned the ball over. Even Jason Tatum, some offensive fouls at opportune times. Al Horford had a couple of open looks as well. One in the corner I can remember, which he had knocked down, which would have nearly put us away. And
he was 1 of 5 today. Yeah, he's almost
Yeah.
becoming a liability on the offensive end. Look, he did other stuff. He got 5 assists, 6 boards, and still plays good D. But yeah, you can really afford to back off him. He's been pretty quiet all series, hasn't he? But all right, does it go back to Game 7, or do the Celtics wrap it up in Game 6 in Atlanta?
I think it goes back to Game 7. And what this might change is the outlook that the front office have about keeping this team together, right? 'Cause
one game can change a lot, right?
If they had lost today, I would have almost guaranteed that Trey and John Collins would be gone, right?
Yeah. Well,
in fact,
I don't think Trey would have been, to be honest. But yeah, John Collins, they definitely would have looked for other changes. We win one.
There's a lot of talk, though. There's a lot of talk in the media about Trey needing to go, though. You know that, right?
There's a lot of people talking shit about Trey, and there have been all year, to be honest. So all those people can eat their words, at least for one day today. And I'm the captain of that bandwagon there, Wood. So, all right, we don't want to turn this into a Hawks fest. We could probably talk about that game for another hour today, but we might go on to some other games. What do you reckon? Unless you want to talk for an hour about them, up to you. You good to move on? Or?
We can move on, brother.
All right, we can move on. All right, well, let's go into the Western Conference there, Wood. So 2 of these series actually finished today, so we might start with those there.
Okay.
So the first game that finished today was Denver beating the Wolves to win 4-1. A couple of close games there, right? With obviously Denver winning 4-1. It was a great game, Game 4, when Minnesota won the overtime game there. Did that go about as you expected, Denver wrapping it up so easily?
Yeah, it did. I mean, Minnesota, they had that game that you talk about, that Game 4. They had that done and dusted with just a few minutes left, and really, nearly, as you say, shut the bed there at the end there, right? Denver's looking pretty good, man. Like, people are sleeping on them. It's wide open now. Anyone could win. And I think Denver, they've got the pieces that are coming together at the right time, right?
Jamal Murray seems a big-time player, doesn't he? He always seems to step it up on the big stage there. So, he's been impressive there. So if he can continue what he's doing there and get some of the stuff out of their role players. But, yeah, you're right, probably a pretty under-the-radar 4-1 series now. So, and I believe they're going to be playing the other winner of today, right, if I've got my matchups right. So they're going to be playing Phoenix, who knocked the Clippers out today. Is that your understanding there?
Yes.
Or?
Yes,
okay.
Lakers will play Golden State in the other side.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Well, if they both win,
you think so?
What were your thoughts on that other series then? So obviously, Clippers, played the whole series without Paul George. Kawhi didn't play the last 2 games.
Hey, just quickly before we go to that series, Robbie, Karl Anthony Towns, are they going to get rid of him in the off season?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he missed a lot of time this year. I think in the time he played, he was good. I think it's clear that Ant Edwards is their guy now. So hopefully Towns can kind of accept that there. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be surprised if they did. I think you still like what he gives you there. He's that unique player that can shoot from the center position. But yeah, he does seem to lack something these days, doesn't he? He can be a bit of a frustrating player. And, I'm obviously a big fan of the guy as well there. But I'd say they hold on to him. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, look, let's go into that Phoenix Clippers series. So, as I mentioned, PG was out for the whole series there. We knew he would be out there. What we didn't know is that Kawhi Leonard was going to sit down these last 2 games. It's almost become a little bit of the boy that cried wolf with him now, hasn't it? People just, assume that he's being soft and everything else like that. The stuff that I've heard today was that his knee is quite bad and he wanted to play, but the medical staff wouldn't clear him. So it's a bit of a worry. Look, we know there's been a lot of personal stuff going on. We probably don't need to talk about that now. People can Google that if they want to. Basically, family sort of issues there and things with his sister that have come up in the last week. So, look, we know there was personal sort of stuff there. He was on the bench today. Didn't show a lot of emotion, which is obviously no surprise. It's Kawhi after all. I want to ask you quickly about Kawhi before we get into this series, Woods. Is he someone that you could see just walking away from the game in the next couple of years?
Absolutely. And I just think that the Clippers need to give up on the whole Paul George, Kawhi Leonard duo thing, right? They barely play together. The team's always, you never know who's going to turn up on the floor on any given night. It's not fair on Coach Tyronn Lue, who deserves to have some, stability and continuity in his roster. So I've heard people say maybe give them 1 more year, and if it doesn't work out, then just move on from it. But I'd be looking to just move on from it now. Do you know what I mean? Like,
possibly. It still seems a strangely constructed team, doesn't it? I mean, Westbrook's been really good. He was really good up until today when he was 3 of 18. So he didn't play well. Norm Powell was really good. He's definitely someone you can count on there.
Plumlee as well.
You can sort of keep there. Plumlee was big, wasn't he? 6 or 7 points today. And that. There's probably just. I don't know. They need to sort of work out that roster. You got guys like Eric Gordon playing big minutes today. Morris playing 24 minutes, which, he clearly was, getting DMPs when Kawhi was playing there. So, look, the season's over for the Clippers. Had a joke with my brother today that, my team goes at least one game longer than his does for the season because we're always comparing how our teams are looking there. But what about in Phoenix? What did you see from them, Woods? I've got to say, Booker, just outstanding, right? 47 today on 19 of 27. 10 assists, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, if you don't mind.
I mean, I was reading somewhere he's the first player to get 45 and 10 in a closeout playoff game, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a bit of a made-up stat because it was a game 5, but you know what I mean? Still, it's incredible. You look at his stats in this series, the 37.2 points on 60, 47, and 85 shooting splits to go with 5 rebounds, 6.4 assists, 2.6 steals, and a block. It's insane, man. Isn't it?
His defense has definitely improved since he entered the league. He's probably a little bit bigger than people sort of think as well. It's funny, he gets hated on a lot as well. I don't know what it is with sort of guys like him and Trey.
Kardashians, man. That's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if it's maybe no, I'm not going to get into race or what they look like and stuff. I don't know whether that's got anything to do with it. That's a topic for another day there. But look, it could have something to do with it. But yeah, look, full credit to him. He put them on their back, every game in that series there. Durant was good without being amazing. I mean, he got 31 today, but it's clearly Devin Booker's team. I think there's no argument about that. Durant's just kind of there to do what he can do. Torrey Craig finally had an ordinary game today, but he was really good all series as well. Very important for them. And Chris Paul went out there with 15 and 7 today. Did what he needed to do in a big game as well. So yeah, who do you like for that matchup?
You tell me 4 players, right, on any starting lineup that have as much pedigree as DeAndre Ayton, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, and Devin Booker, right?
No, there's not. Well, who do you like for that next series, Woods? I'll put you, gun to your head now. Denver against Phoenix. I reckon that's going to be a cracker series. I mean, all the series get good as they go into that second round there. But if you had to do a prediction right now, who would you be taking?
I'm going to say whoever wins that series will probably win the NBA championship.
Ooh, big call.
I'm going to say that, right?
So we know obviously Denver's got home court. So come on, give us a pick.
Phoenix in 7.
Yeah, I'm thinking Phoenix as well. Yeah, I'll agree with you. I don't like agreeing with you, Woods. It's not something I try and do, but I'll say Phoenix in 7 as well. I think it will be a good series there. Not sure how DeAndre Ayton's going to go against the Joker there. I think Ayton's a bit of a disappointing defender, if I'm being honest. So we'll see how much the Joker sort of dominates there. But yeah, both teams have got sort of a lot of weapons around the place, don't they? So yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, so 2 ex-Melbourne United guys going up against each other.
They would if Jock Landale was actually playing. Really disappointed with that, Woods. He was averaging 15 minutes a game in the regular season, playing more minutes than Bismack Biyombo, and it's just switched as we've got in this first round. So I don't know whether this is matchup based, whether we will see him in the second round, but another DMP today for Jock Landale. We know these teams are shortening their benches, right? But that seems a bit crazy to me.
As I said, since Durant came, you've got that stretch big, right?
Yeah.
So instead of playing Landale, they want that hustle type big to come off the bench because they can, throw out different combinations with Durant available. I think that's played a big role in that, right?
Yeah. Fair cool. All right, we've got 2 more series to cover, Wood. So they're obviously both going to be in action tomorrow. Look, we'll start with the series that's probably been getting a lot of attention. I think, obviously, anytime the Lakers play, that's the case there. But Lakers are currently leading Memphis 3-1. Obviously, a road team here that's got the ascendancy so far with the 3-1 lead. What's your take been on that series? Can Memphis extend that with a win tomorrow, do you think?
I think so. I think it'll go to 6 games, right? A lot of people have come to me in the last few days. I've watched this series very closely. Other than the Atlanta series, this is the one I've watched all the games so far. And someone came to me and said, look, I mean, how can they come back from that? They had that game wrapped up in that fourth quarter, and they just, almost threw it away with letting LeBron score on the buzzer there. And, they had the lead. D'Angelo Russell brought him back into the game. It's hard for them to come back from such a bad loss. And they could potentially have that gentleman's sweep happen to them, but I just have the feeling that they're a gutsy young team, and that home crowd will really want them to push it to a game 6. So,
Well, look, Lakers won that game without getting a huge AD game as well. He wasn't amazing. I think Reeves might have led them in scoring in that game, which is pretty crazy.
LeBron ended up.
LeBron ended up. Okay, I think Reeves might have sort of had him initially there. I've got to say, someone that disappointed me a little bit in that series, and someone I like, but Ja Morant, Woods, I mentioned to you the other day, his total lack of an outside shot was really telling, I thought, at the end of that game. There was times there where they needed a 3, and he doesn't have the confidence or the ability from outside. He's one of those players that can maybe hit a 3-pointer if he's got his feet set and there's no one within, 5 feet of him there, but he struggles to get that shot up there, and was sort of passing off to people there. You see the T-Rex playing, and you see guys like that he was deferring to there, Desmond Bain and everything else like that. But he was pretty disappointing, to be honest. He's definitely reminding me of that Derrick Rose sort of category there, where he's probably he needs to not always rely on his athleticism and just work on some other key parts of his game. Yep. Really liking Triple J's defense there. He seems to just change always so many shots there. Yeah. He blocks shots and he changes shots as well, right?
He's got a great knack for knowing where to be at the right time as well. He offers that help on the weak side as well to come and block shots, which is terrific, right? That's great instincts.
You reckon Memphis win that win that game 5 and then it goes back to LA, right?
One more thing about that game, what was really fitting is in that overtime when LeBron James was coming off that left wing and he felt Dylan Brooks trying to guard him and took the contact and scored the and-one on him and just celebrated. I don't care where you're from, you know, if you like LeBron or not, that was just an amazing moment. And you just had to be like, how's this guy? This guy's the man. Honestly,
right? What he's doing at his age is incredible. And that dunk he threw down, I think he made that as well, which is huge. So, full credit to him. How about him hitting that shot from half court that didn't count?
Oh, man, I know, right?
That have been to win it there.
Yeah.
All right, we're down to one series, Woods. It's the team that I'm rocking today there. So I have enjoyed this one. I've watched this is probably great. For me. This is probably the second one I've watched the most after the Hawks one there. So Sacramento and Golden State there, Woods. It's tied at 2-2. We've got Game 5 in Sacramento tomorrow. I don't know why. I just have a feeling that Golden State are going to wrap this up in the next 2, just with their experience. And like, are you thinking the same? Or we know there's De'Aaron Fox has got a broken finger.
He's out.
Watch. Apparently he's come out today and said he's 99% playing. So
what?
Obviously got a little bit more toughness than Kawhi, who I know that was a bit of a low blow. But apparently he said he's 99% playing. So it'll be interesting to see if he does there. But, so you're thinking the same, right? Golden State could win that road game and then take it back and finish it in.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's playing. I heard he had a fractured hand or a broken
I think it's
hand,
his non-shooting hand maybe. Yeah. So maybe that makes a difference there with the lefty. So, and that actually injury happened after a foul call. When they sort of continue going for a shot, like after a foul had been called, and he had ran into Looney there, which was just a really shame to happen there. But look, it's been an interesting series. We saw Steph Curry do the old Chris Webber and call a timeout. I mean, how did they actually win that game 4, right? I mean, they gave up the lead. Curry had a couple of boneheaded plays. Barnes had a great look at it at the end too.
The worst shot by Curry early in the shot clock when they're ahead. Yeah. What is he doing? I'm like, come on, Steph, right? You know better than this. And he's like, nah. At the end of the interview, he's like, nah, I was happy with that shot. I'm like, man, you shouldn't have been, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to that game tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow's pretty big, actually. So we've got the 4 games on tomorrow, Woods, which it's going to be hard to cover those. So just quickly before we finish off that part of it. So we've got the Knicks at the Cavs, Lakers at Grizzlies, Heat Bucks, and Warriors Kings. So looking forward to those. There could be a couple of series that potentially end tomorrow. For me, I don't think any series will end tomorrow. That's my little prediction there. They will continue. So we'll see what happens there. So, all right, I appreciate that, Woods. Look, I thought we might just quickly, I know we've gone a little bit long on there, maybe just talk a little bit about some of these NBA awards that have been handed out in the past few weeks. So I'll go through these quickly one by one. You can let me know your thoughts. So Defensive Player of the Year, the man we just spoke about, Jaren Jackson Jr. What were your thoughts on that one there?
The only other guy that I thought maybe a little bit hard done by is who we spoke about earlier, and Brook Lopez, who was just terrific defensively this year. Yep. Amazing just shout out to Brook for starting his career as a sieve on the defensive end to now being in the conversation for Depoy. But JJJ, man, as we spoke about, man, he's leading the league in blocks. He's got those instincts of a great defender. As you just watch him play, and you know.
He's a great help defender, isn't he? If someone blows past one of their guards, he's just lurking and comes and blocks it. And he does big block shots too. It's not all about the block shots, as positioning, and that includes sort of him getting on the glass and stuff like that. But no, I thought that was a pretty fair one there. Sixth man of the year. This is one I thought could have gone either way. So Malcolm Brogdon from the Celtics won it. Obviously, Emmanuel Quickley from the Knicks was very much in contention for that award too. Do you think they picked the right man for that one?
No. I would have gone with Emmanuel quickly. And I mean, to be fair, Malcolm Brogdon has been great for Boston this year, coming off the bench and actually being healthy and playing an extended season. I mean, if you look back at Malcolm over the last few years, he hasn't been able to stay healthy and stay on the floor. Yeah. So having 67 games playing this year, putting up 15 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, they're good numbers, man. So he's not deserving of it, but I would have gone with Quickly. Yeah.
Also, how uncanny is his speaking voice, Malcolm Brogdon? He sounds so much like Barack Obama when he speaks. It's almost funny. It's funny. Like if I didn't,
And
if I was just listening,
he looks a bit like him as well.
Yeah, possibly. But he's got exactly the same voice. It's just funny there. So he becomes only the second person to win a Rookie of the Year and Six Man of the Year awards. Do you know who the first man that won that was?
I should know.
It's going back, I think, early noughties. Someone that played a bit of a journeyman guy, won a chip later in his career on the Heat team there. Good 3-point shooter. Started with Orlando.
Okay.
He's got the same initials. First and last initials are the same.
And why am I having a blank?
He looks more like me than a lot of NBA players do. If that gives you another clue.
Oh, okay. Mike Miller.
Mike Miller, yeah. So first person in over 20 years to have got the Rookie of the Year and Six Man. So thought that was pretty interesting. All right, the next one, this is just the two recent ones that were named. So Lauri Markkanen won the Most Improved award there. Obviously really improved his scoring there. So I kind of like that one. I know SGA was in contention there. I'm never a big fan of those guys that were already really good the year before winning it. I thought Markkanen did have a really big jump there. So he was almost like a throw-in player, right? In the Donovan Mitchell trade there between the Cavs and Utah. So Utah did pretty well. So you were happy with that one?
Oh, hell yeah. He started the All-Star game this year. Yeah. No one would have ever expected
that was crazy, right?
That he would take his game to this level. And he's just fun to watch, man. So, well deserving.
Yeah. Coach of the Year, Mike Brown, unanimous from Sacramento. No problems there. No complaints.
No doubt. I've been surprised he hasn't got an opportunity to coach, be a head coach in this league sooner as well.
No, cool. Right? Yeah. And then the last one we got, which they came out and named today, was the Rookie of the Year. So Paolo Banchero, Rookie of the Year Woods, he was named on 98 out of 100 of the ballots there for first choice awards. So I'm sure you're not going to disagree with those votes, right?
No. What about this new Clutch Player Award? Has that been announced yet?
I think De'Aaron Fox won that one, so I didn't have that on the list, but I think he did win it. I've got another trivia awards because I love putting you on the spot as well there. So Banchero was the third Magic player that won the Rookie of the Year award there. So can you name the other two? We just named one before, so I kind of gave you that one there.
Magic players?
Yeah.
Okay, so Shaq.
Yep, and Shaq, and then the one we spoke about two minutes ago.
And I know so that Penny Hardaway Rookie Year, Chris Webber won the Rookie of the Year, right?
Yeah. All right, and here's another little one. So he also became the fourth Duke player to win a Rookie of the Year as well there. So any ideas who the other three are?
Grant Hill.
Yep.
Kyrie Irving.
Correct, even though he was there for about 2 minutes. Yeah, one more. Someone you like as well. Someone that I didn't sort of think up straight away. Did well getting the first two. He's known as a Clipper or a Bull. He's got the first name of a very famous singer as well.
Damn, I've got to know this, man.
I'll tell you his number, but I know numbers don't help you. But 42, I believe he wore.
Why am I having a blank? He's known as a Clipper. When was he a rookie?
So that would have been going back like 90s, I'd say, like late 90s. Also played for the Bulls. A big guy out of Duke.
Oh man, I've got to know this. How am I having this blank here?
The singer in question with the same name maybe likes to sing "I'm Still Standing," if that gives you a clue. I'm not going to sing it for you. That's not my forte.
Why am I having this
blank? You need to play some little hold music here while you're thinking of it.
Clippers and Bulls. White guy?
Nah, a big...
No. Okay, Clippers and Bulls. Big man?
Big man, yeah. I think I stumped you.
Yeah, tell me.
Elton Brand.
Oh, damn.
He was the other one. So
I should have known. I should have known. Yeah. No, and he was joint rookie of the year with Steve Francis that year.
Okay, yeah. Well, I didn't even have that on my notes, so good work for that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, before we finish this NBA, just two very quick ones there. So a couple of coaching moves. We obviously saw Toronto letting go of Nick Nurse there. So, of course, a championship-winning coach only a few years ago now. Just wanted to see what your thoughts on that were. And probably secondly, what does this mean for Aussie Trevor Gleeson, who was an assistant to Nurse here? I'd say he's probably gone as well now, right?
Yep.
What were your thoughts on Nurse getting the chop, though?
I think he's been great. And, the roster he's had the last couple of years, he's got the best out of him. But maybe it's just time for a change. Messiah's still there, running the helm, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he can be pretty ruthless, can't he, with the way he gets out there. So
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, look, someone will pick up Nick Nurse, I'm sure. But just the other one I wanted to mention as well was obviously Houston announcing that they've got Ime Udoka to be their next coach. So I thought that was a really big move there. Some people were saying maybe Toronto or Detroit were going to go after him. So I think he's a good coach to go to Houston with all the young talent there. Hopefully he can control himself, I guess. I still don't feel like we know that full story about what happened in Boston there.
Isn't he along going to be in Houston as well?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if she's going along with him for that one, but interesting. So I think that's a good one, though. I think he'll be very motivated after sitting this year out. That's a good pick-up for them. So, all right, I appreciate that, Woods. I know we went a little bit long there, but there was a lot to talk about on the NBA there, and you did it. You did greatly. So thank you for all your answers there. So, look. Couple of quick hits, Woods. It's just going to be some NBL this week. We're going to give the NBL 1 a bit of a miss this week. We'll certainly be back next week with some NBL 1 talk. But just wanted to talk and give that sort of update we've been giving with the NBL Free Agency. So there wasn't that many moves in the past week since we recorded. Ty Webster re-signed with Perth. Isaac Humphries returned to the 36ers, which is pretty big. One move I really loved for United was them signing West Australian Kyle Bowen out of St Mary's there. So, I really wanted my boys to get him, Woods. I was a little bit disappointed. Kind of thought he'd be one of those Matt Knight type players if we could get him, not just because he's got good hair like that. But what's your thoughts on the Kyle Bowen signing for United? Do you think this means that they will run out an all-Australian lineup in this next NBL season?
Yeah, I mean, that's 11, I think, newly signed during the week well. So they've got 11 out of 12. I think if they can get one American on that roster, right, if they want.
Yeah.
Well, they can keep that.
They've loaded up, haven't they?
They don't need one, but they can keep that option open for a late season acquisition, which they've done in the past. It's just like, where are all the minutes going to go, though? Do you know what I mean? That's the one thing.
Luke Travis is going to get all the ball playing with that team, is he, for some reason?
Man.
Yeah. Someone I'd like to see get a go, Woods, as well, is, Devondrick Walker. I heard Greg High saying on the NBL 1 show today that he thinks he's the best player in the NBL 1 in any of the conferences there. We've obviously seen him play pretty well in his time when he's had a go in the NBL. So he could be a player if you don't need to pay a lot of money to potentially get him. He's not one of those marquee imports. So he could be someone, if United are serious about getting an import, that could fill a few roles there. So see what happens there. So just thought before we finish the quick hits in the NBL there's still a few free agents that haven't been picked up, which is probably a surprise with some of them there. So some of the names I've got, Woods, that are still out there. So Junior Madut, who's killing it in the NBL 1 East for Norths at the moment. DJ Daniel Johnson, the veteran there. Your man Kyle Adnam. Rob Lowe from the Breakers. And Ben Eyre, who had a great season for Cairns there. So just wanted to see if you're surprised about any of these guys in particular, or is there anyone else as well that you think is out there that teams could potentially go after?
Well, let's start with DJ. I really hope that Sydney has some sort of conversation with him. It's one of those guys who's like had his whole career playing basically for the one club. At the end of his career, he can get an opportunity to win a championship. Kind of like, Kickett joined the Kings late in his career. I don't see why DJ couldn't come off the bench and fit into that Kings system really well. So I really hope that DJ's NBL career is not over and he can latch on to a contender, preferably the Kings.
Hey, Woods, can I kick it?
Yes, you can.
Oh, nice one. So anyone else? What about Junior Madut? Going quickly to him, because as I said, he got 50 in an NBL 1 East game just 2 weeks ago there. I'm surprised he hasn't been picked up. There's rumours that the Phoenix are still wanting him to maybe get him back, but who do you think should go after him? Are the Kings a chance, given he's playing under their nose at the moment, just playing in North, just up the road, really, across the bridge?
Yeah, I mean, Kings have already got that Malawak recently, signed Malawak recently.
Yeah.
Will they? They've still got Jackson McCoy, Junior Madut may not fit there. I think the best option for him is to go back to Southeast Melbourne, right? And he's got Coach Kelly this year, familiar system. He's got to get picked up. Ben Eyre, you mentioned, definitely he's going to get picked up. Who else did you mention there? Rob Lowe. These guys had great seasons.
Rob Lowe's going back to New Zealand. I don't think.
For sure.
What about Kyle Adnam? I heard there was talk Brisbane were maybe chatting with him there, so he'll find a home somewhere, and we know he'll go out and surprise people and put up numbers like he always does. But I think there was someone else you had.
Deng Deng. Really like Deng Deng. He's versatile. He can play the 4 spot. You can play him in the 5 spot. He had a really good season starting for Illawarra last year, right? Where he started almost all the games and put up decent numbers. And I really think he's matured, and there's a lot of teams that could do with the services of a Deng Deng, right?
Yeah, good call. Well, look, certainly a lot of those players, I'm sure all those players we mentioned will find homes there. But yeah, DJ's probably the interesting one, isn't it? He's that one that might struggle, just given his age and his defensive, deficiencies, let's say there. As much as he's been such a good player and he's a walking bucket, you never know how his ego will go. Is he sort of open to moving to a completely different city? We know he's a WA boy there, but he's never played there. Is he would he be prepared to go to Cairns, for example, or New Zealand or somewhere like that and be that real veteran sort of end of the bench type guy?
I don't think so. I think a Perth Wildcats, the Sydney Kings, a contender. he can be that guy at the, like as I said, a kicker type role. He would fit perfectly on the Kings, almost mirroring what Kicker did late in his career. So, yeah.
Good call. Well, look, we'll certainly continue to update these moves as they happen. I think it's going to start to be slowed down with some of these moves. Yeah, you got something to add?
Is Nathan Jawai still playing in the NBL 1?
No, I haven't noticed him in the NBL 1. I haven't been looking too much at that conference. Look, I know you probably think he should probably still start in the NBL Woods. I'm not quite sure.
No, I'm just wondering if he's still officially retired or not.
No, I'll get back to you. I'll put that on the sheet for you so we can do some fact checking there. So, no, good call. All right, well, look, that's sort of the end of the quick hits in the NBL part. As I mentioned, we'll do a little bit more NBL 1 next week, but just thought there was a lot of NBA playoffs to talk about this week and some great series going on. But I know we're obviously running a little bit long, Woods, but you've got a different type of classic packs for us this week, and I believe quite a small pack, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably works out well because we're running over time a little bit, Robbie. But what I've got here is the NBA Hoops Superstar set. All right, there's only 4 cards in the pack.
Wow.
And there's 62 to collect. So what are you going to get here?
What brand are they then?
It's Hoops.
Hoops. Okay.
1992. So what you're only going to get in these packs are NBA Dream Team cards, or you're going to get Superstar cards.
So what you're saying is if I can't guess any of the clues of these players there, I should probably hang up my microphone. Is that what
and if I can't give good clues, then we should probably stop this end this segment.
Podcast. Yeah, all right, no worries. I don't even remember these cards. I'm looking forward to see what they look like.
Okay, I'm going to open this very... Yeah, I think they're the same cards that you normally get, aren't they?
So we're talking a 31-year-old pack of cards there.
Yep.
Great work. Sounding very crispy. I'm loving all the sound effects. It just makes it sound more realistic. It's good.
Okay. One of the greatest shooters of all time. We talked about this Pacers team, which he led alongside Chris Mullin, the man's jersey that's hanging behind you. We're
Reggie,
talking about...
number 31.
The great man himself.
Show me these
Reggie
cards. Okay.
Miller.
What's the back of those look like? Interesting. I don't recall these ones. So these in like a smaller set as well, Woods? Is that the case with these? Like, there can't be, if there's 4 a pack, there can't be too many in the set. But
yeah, there's 62 in this set.
62, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. So they obviously pick the best players of that area there. You know what I'm pleased about? There's not going to be any John Concacs or any of those clowns this week, so that's good.
I really enjoyed this guy's career at the Clippers. In fact, when I first started watching the NBA, I got to watch a lot of him in the late 80s to the early 90s, right? I watched him play live in my first ever NBA game back at the Forum, before the Staples Center. Played for the Clippers alongside my man Danny Manning, Mark Jackson, Ron Harper, at the forward position.
Lloyd Vaught?
The 3rd pick in the 88 NBA draft, who then went on to play for New York and famously missed all those shots.
Jeez, is he a superstar? I wouldn't even thought. We talked about him in that Hootie and the Blowfish song the other week.
Yeah, we did.
None other than Charles Smith.
Charles Smith, correct,
Can you
Robbie?
just tell me what these cards were called again, Woods?
They're
NBA
called
Superstars, you said.
NBA Hoops 92 Superstar Set.
Superstar set. Now, who's the guy we just pulled? Charles Smith.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
in fairness to Charles Smith, in 88-9-9, he averaged 21.1 points a game, shooting 52% from the field. And in 1991, he averaged 20 points a game, shooting 48% from the field.
And he did have a fair flat top as well, so we'll give him that.
Yep, I really liked him. Anyway, Charles Smith.
Nice.
Okay. You talk about big game players. This guy was big game, right? In fact, his name...
Oh, is that his nickname, maybe?
Nickname,
did he wear number 42 and wear goggles as well?
He did indeed. And actually, we had... who did we have on the show recently that spoke about going to his last game, and that was Nick Van Exel's first season?
Okay. Yeah. It's gone. I can't quite remember that. But yeah, James Worthy, of course. Yeah.
Yep.
Was it Mookie, maybe? I can't forget. Yeah. Anyway,
Jack Havron. Jack Havron.
Was Jack, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was
shout
too.
out to Jack.
Yeah,
Shout out to
yeah,
Jack,
yeah.
Nice. No, yeah, he was a great player, wasn't he? Yeah,
Yeah.
very unheralded player. Someone I always liked watching as well. Look at those shorts he's wearing as well, Woods. Jeez.
In fact, when I went to watch that first ever NBA game where Charles Smith was playing, it was Lakers versus Clippers. I've spoken to you about that in the past. They were both playing. Yeah.
So you've seen half of this pack in the first game you saw.
Yep.
Hey, Woods, you just like to mention, that was your first game. You do know how many NBA games I've seen live, right?
Yep. 0. But we're going to go next year, right? On a trip.
Yeah, shout out. We're going to do a special Throwback Hoops episode.
Can we record an episode on the road?
We absolutely can, yeah. So just to let the viewers know, me, Woody, and obviously Coop, who's also been on the podcast, we're going to America next year. We're going to go to LA and we're going to go to Atlanta. And I'm going to finally see a Hawks game live, as is Woods in Atlanta, and I cannot wait. So, yeah, we'll definitely do a show over there and talk a little bit about that. But one more card left.
We'll get Coop to hold the camera, right?
Absolutely. Sounds good.
He'll want to come on though.
Yeah.
All right, the final one is 92 USA Basketball Dream Team card. Recently, after years of fighting, this man and Isaiah Thomas buried the hatchet, right? Seems like Isaiah's buried the hatchet with a few people. One of the greatest power forwards of all time.
Does he deliver on Sundays? Or?
Yes.
That's
not it. That's not it.
No,
That's
he
the
did that one there.
The back one.
Most
The
boring
back one.
dunk
Yeah.
ever.
That's the deep round. Sorry,
the
my
mailman.
bad. The mailman.
Nice. I do recall those looking cards. They're actually pretty cool, those ones. So,
Yep.
all right, I appreciate it, Woods. Well, that was certainly something very different. A 4-pack of cards. We haven't seen that. We had that pack one week where there was like 15 cards in it that seemed to take ages when we went through it. But
actually, we might as well do that next week. That's the
so what do you got left?
Fleer 93-94. Well, it actually contains 29 cards, so we're gonna have to do that in two. We're gonna have to do that in two sets. You know,
we
what I mean?
could make a whole episode for that. But two times. Well, you might have to get online and get some more packs in for these future episodes.
Yep.
All right, awesome, mate. Well, appreciate that. So, look, I'm glad that was a short pack. We didn't end up going too much over time there. So, just a bit of an outro there. So, just before we finish up, so just a reminder where to listen and where to find us there. So, you can find us on Twitter. We're at Throwbacks Hoops. On Instagram, we're throwback.hoops, and our email address is throwbackhoopspodcast@gmail.com. Why don't you give a shout out for Patreon details, Woods?
Yeah, everyone, thanks so much for pledging your support. Jump on Patreon, look for Throwback Hoops. All you have to do is look for the logo with the 2 microphones and the Atlanta Hawks symbols. That's us. We appreciate everyone's support.
Certainly appreciate it. Well, look, that was really fun, Woods. I'm really looking forward for these next few playoff games. I'm going to sign off with Trey here. He's got a bit of a smile on his face after that big game today. Get out and support your NBL one, as I always say. I'll be doing the games this weekend against Maitland Woods. I know you're going to be coming in a few weeks, but looking forward to call those ones this weekend. Final word from yourself? No,
everyone just enjoy the playoffs, and we'll do it all again next week, right?
Peace out. Big goodbye from the Throwback Hoops crew.
Peace.